As far as F1 debuts go, it couldn't have gone much better for Oliver Bearman at the 2024 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. A last-minute substitute for the ill Carlos Sainz, Bearman fulfilled his role as reserve driver and jumped into SF24 for FP3 with no prior experience in that car, and on a circuit that is quite challenging even for the seasoned F1 drivers. Normally, expectations were low for the 18-year-old who got thrown into the fire, but Bearman was absolutely stellar throughout his 3 sessions in the car for Ferrari. He exceeded even the most ambitious of expectations and thoroughly impressed everyone in the Formula 1 pit lane. And while his fellow drivers were full of praise for him, there might be 2 drivers who were less so excited about Bearman's impressive debut. We're going to take a look at how the events in Saudi Arabia have suddenly put immense pressure on Haas's drivers to show their worth, and whether Bearman is all but guaranteed a Formula 1 seat for 2025. Before we break down Bearman's on-track performance, there are quite a few interesting statistics to go through from his Formula 1 debut. Young drivers are quite common in modern Formula 1, but it is quite rare for them to make their debut on a last-minute call-up mid-weekend. So after taking pole position in Formula 2, Oliver Bearman went on to become the 3rd youngest driver to start a Formula 1 race at 18 years, 10 months, and 1 day old. He was racing against the 2nd and youngest drivers in F1 history, as Lance Stroll and Max Verstappen were ahead of him on track. Bearman's solid drive to points also means he is the 3rd youngest point scorer in history as well. Oliver Bearman now stands alone as the teenager who scored the most points on his F1 debut with 6. This was also the best result for a driver on debut since Felipe Nasr at the 2015 Australian Grand Prix, where he finished in 5th. He is also the first F1 driver to make their debut with Ferrari since Arturo Merzario at the 1972 British Grand Prix. Much was made of Bearman's age and the comparison to F1's current oldest driver, Fernando Alonso. And while the double world champion might not want to be reminded of his age, the stats are pretty incredible to listen to. The day Oliver Bearman was born, May the 8th of 2005, Fernando Alonso went on to finish P2 at the Spanish Grand Prix that very day. And here's something really interesting to think about. Bearman is the first driver in history to share the grid with the F1 champion of his birth year. The stats alone make this a memorable debut, but thanks to Bearman's on-track performance, we will be remembering this weekend for exactly that reason. The transition from a Formula 2 car to a Formula 1 car isn't easy, and it is certainly made more difficult having to do it on the same weekend. Add in a high-speed street circuit where you're flat out inches away from a wall, and you can understand why expectations were low. But Oliver Bearman handled the Ferrari with poise and steady nerves that would make unsuspecting viewers not even realize he was a rookie. He made it to Q2 with relative ease, and only ended up being 3/100ths of a second from reaching Q3. He showed that the one-lap pace was there, but could he hang on for points throughout the course of a full Grand Prix? Well, Bearman absolutely shined in his first Formula 1 race. After a scruffy first lap, Bearman settled in well on the softs and ran his race without overdriving the car or trying to do too much. Following the safety car stops, he made up some positions and also made some solid overtakes on the Sauber and the Haas to gain up positions and was sitting in P7 at the final stages of the Grand Prix. This is where the young rookie faced his biggest test. Having to hold off the quicker McLaren of Norris and Hamilton's Mercedes, who were on fresh softs having pitted on lap 37 and 38 respectively. But Bearman's confidence grew throughout the Grand Prix, and so did his race pace. Even on worn hards, his pace actually got quicker by the end of the stint, and he was actually the fastest driver in that pack. After Norris and Hamilton pitted for fresh rubber, Bearman went from lapping in the low 133s to a consistent mid to low 132s. This increase of pace was key to holding off the faster cars and securing a P7 finish on his F1 debut. Post-race he earned praise from just about everyone, and it was well deserved. The fans also recognized this by voting him driver of the day. And it looks like the cushioning on his headrest also appreciated the hard work from Bearman, as you can see just how much G-force goes through the neck on a circuit like Jeddah, and just how much physically Bearman was struggling. But it was also his teammate, Charles Leclerc, who gave him the best compliment after the race, and one that should put the driver market on notice, as he said, quote, "It's a matter of time before we see him permanently in the Formula 1 paddock." Prior to racing in Jeddah, Bearman was already on the radar after a very impressive free practice debut with Haas last season. Then engineer, and now Haas team principal Io Komatsu said of Bearman at his time of debut in Mexico, quote, "I don't think you can fault him. He's done really well in terms of his feedback. It was really good. Engagement with his engineers, really good job. Really impressed." Now following his stellar F1 debut with Ferrari, the whole paddock is on notice of Bearman's potential. And with Bearman being a Ferrari Academy driver, the Haas pairing of Nico Hülkenberg and Kevin Magnussen will be looking in the rearview mirror. With Haas's technical relationship with Ferrari, there is always the possibility of Ferrari bosses pushing Haas to hire one of its drivers. And with Ferrari CEO John Elkann being ever present to witness Bearman's debut, you get the feeling some talks are already beginning. 2024 will be a crucial year for both Hülkenberg and Magnussen, but you get the feeling that the Dane is under more pressure in this situation. Since making his debut for Haas, Hülkenberg has steadily outqualified his teammate and has greatly impressed the team. Magnussen will have to step up his game for the coming races if he wants to convince Haas and others to keep him on in favor of this teenage sensation. Because the consensus following the 2024 Saudi Arabian Grand Prix seems to be that Oliver Bearman's promotion to Formula 1 is not a case of if it will happen, but more so when it will happen. So what did you think of Oliver Bearman's F1 debut, and does he deserve a seat for 2025? The comment section down below is open, so let us know what you think and give us your opinions on his debut at the Saudi Arabian Grand Prix. If you enjoyed watching today's video, leave it a like, share it, and also subscribe to the BMF1 Show.